This is July 6th, 2000. I'm at EC0474, I believe, the Iron Crown Mine. This is a four-wheeler trail, ATV trail that comes up from Newsom Creek Road. About the first mile and a half is probably drivable, although it's designated ATV only. The rest of it from there on, which is about another mile and a half, is just basically an ATV trail. The only thing I could find is this kind of cut back into the slope. You can see the little scarp right here. It kind of comes over to about right there. And it goes back up the slope here into the hillside, maybe about 30 or 40 feet, and is a maximum of about 8 or 10 feet deep. This is not quite where it's shown on the topographic map. There's a prospect noted on the topographic map just up here behind these trees on the hillside, and I couldn't find anything there, so I'm pretty sure this is probably what they're showing. Supposedly there was a mill here in the late 1800s that supposedly operated for 10 to 12 years. I don't see any evidence of that much material having been moved. The only sign of a waste dump is kind of this little wide spot right here in the road where my backpack's on, and it sticks out about maybe 20 feet from the road, 25 feet, and just kind of goes down over here. It could just be a dozed out area that they've pushed some material out here. I don't know why they would have, so I'm presuming it actually is the prospect. Other than that, I don't see anything else up here. There's also supposedly another prospect here, EC0475, the northern, or I'll have to look, see what the name is, Pacific Northern or Northern Light or something. In any case, I haven't seen any evidence of it either. We didn't have an exact location for it, and I didn't see anything on the way up here. It's supposed to be back on the way back down, probably over along that little ridge somewhere, but again, I didn't see anything. It's pretty thick in here. It's either an old burn or a timber cut that's pretty well grown back up. So I'll look on the way out, but I doubt I'll find anything there. Well, I'm still at the Iron Crown Mine. I came back looking a little more around where the Prospect X was on the topo map. I hadn't seen anything earlier, but indeed there is something here. If I look off to kind of the north over here, that bare spot in the center is the cut that I was at before. It's just before where the trail makes a loop around a small knoll. This is probably the one that's shown on the map. It's basically just a kind of a scarp going up the slope here, comes down below me, goes out to the flat down here. There's no water draining out, but there are some bushes growing, so it could be that it has a small seep at times, but definitely nothing flowing now. The trail back to Newsom Creek is just over through those two little trees there, just beyond that stump. Can't hardly see it from here. Up the slope, just above this little trough right here, there are several shallow little pits. I'm not sure if there is a shaft here that's caved. This was an adit, is my guess. It's definitely caved. And I'll look around a little bit down here on the slope to see if I can find any remains of a mill. But other than that, there really still isn't too much here. Well, the cut I was just at is up the hill there, about the center of the frame. Can't see the cut, especially from here, but about where that tall tree is right there is about where the cut was. I've come down a little bit here on this slope, and this appears to be the remains of an old dam. going from about there. Well, these trees are kind of growing right on it, this little row of trees, and comes back over almost to where that log is, that burnt log is over there. And in this little pool behind it, or dry area behind it, there's some finds that appear to be stamp mill tails, as best I can tell. It's all pretty much like crushed granitic rock or crushed gneiss, but it does sort of have the appearance of having been a little containment pond. There's also this little trough right here going back up the slope. I don't know if there was a small working there or exactly what was going on, but I'll go ahead, and even though this looks pretty dead, like there's not much in it, I'll go ahead and grab a sample of it in case it is some form of tailings. But it really doesn't impact the drainage at all, and there's a small notch, I guess, eroded through the dam here, but other than that, there's really not much erosion going on, and it really shouldn't be much of a problem. But I'll get a sample anyway. And haven't seen any remains of a foundation of a mill or anything, but if this area burnt off, why, there probably wouldn't be much left anyway. And from the late 1800s, I wouldn't expect too much. There's sort of a little flat area above me up here, so there certainly could have been a mill at this site, but I don't think it's of any particular problem right now.